Today is the last day of Black History Month in the UK. It's an event that many companies in the city have celebrated, but Black, Asian and minority ethnic people are still underrepresented in financial services. A 2022 Race to Equality survey found that almost 7 in 10 ethnic minority workers in the UK financial services felt they'd experienced discrimination at work.
So we wanted to bring you a conversation about the experience of being a black person working here in the Square Mile. We brought together a graduate at insurance firm Gallagher and a managing director for Morgan Stanley to discuss the importance of role models and how they feel underrepresentation of black people in financial industries could be addressed.
Let's take a listen now to that conversation.
I'm Colin Chambers. I work at Gallagher in construction broking, the international team. I'm on the grad scheme. This is my second year.
My name is Tosin Akindui. I'm a managing director at Morgan Stanley and I've been at the firm 20 years.
I support Chelsea. Big reason I support Chelsea because of Michael Essien. He's a Ghanaian black role model for me. A lot of people where I'm from, or East London, they support Arsenal because of players like Thierry Henry, and they want to be a footballer and play for Arsenal because of Thierry Henry. In the city, definitely you want to see someone that is successful in the city, because I feel like there's a bit of narrative and stereotypes that the city is mainly white people when you walk in, and there's a lot of maybe a lack of diversity. People might think that from first assumption, but I feel like when you get in the city, you'll be surprised as well, because there are black leaders there. So be able to identify with those black leaders and relate to them is really important to feel like you can be successful in a city where you are the minority.
When I look at my career and when I started out decades ago, there wasn't the obvious role modelling at senior levels of black heritage. There were not that many. Obviously, there's been vast improvements there, really identifying and training and retaining a black excellent talent. And so there's more representation now than there was before. And a lot of people who have worked as long as I have, who have black heritage, will have that same feeling of not kind of looking around and seeing people who might have had a similar path or similar background, especially when it comes to ethnicity and culture. But the reality is that there's been progression. It's not been linear. There's more wood to chop, absolutely. But once you are in a place where you have achieved certain things, and you yourself, Colin, are a role model, you begin to role model right from the start of your career. And there are people who will come to you, or you could offer advice to about how you've done that in your kind of environment. So the role modeling is really about paying it forward.
You won't live the same career that Tosin has, or another black man or another black lady has. So you have to navigate and also sort of take responsibility of your career and lean on different people, take everything with a pinch of salt as well, and try and relate to where you think their advice will be relevant to you.
If you're going into a work environment where you are spending 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day, it could be longer depending on what's going on in your industry, to have to navigate a performance every day that's not true to who you are is absolutely exhausting and takes away from you actually performing a job to the best of your ability. So when we talk about role models, one of the things I would say to people, such as yourself, Colin, is that when we're looking at role models or a skill we want to develop or something we want to hone and perfect, it's looking at the people who do it best, whoever they are, wherever they're from. And it's great that there are a lot more people of black heritage to call on other ethnicities as well within the city. But who does it best in a way that resonates with me?
Yes.
And is true to me? And now I want to find out a bit more about that.
With unconscious bias, I feel like you have to be aware of it before you know it exists. Me being very young as well and new in the industry, I feel like you're young, you might not know, you could be naive. You definitely need to have a wide eye for that and also be aware of that. But also know that you can talk to people, make them aware of things that you might not agree with and things that could be improved in whatever industry you're in.
One of the things you said that is so amazing and it's great, it actually should not be amazing, is that you feel comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's the environment you want in a corporate setting. And Morgan Stanley is very much the same. And you want to be an environment where you can talk about it. And I think if you go back 30, 40 years, there was not the narrative, the language. How do you talk about it? People were not comfortable talking about race at all. There's a lot more comfort in that and people willing to kind of make mistakes and be corrected than there was 30, 40 years ago. So it's great that you are perceiving that and feeling empowered to do that. The other thing I would say was, when I was starting out, a lot of the time there would be some form of unconscious bias people would perceive, and it would be like, oh, I didn't correct it right then and there in the moment. The moment has passed. The moment has never passed. It's never passed. It could be 3-4 days. It could be a while before you realize, oh yeah, that's particularly what made me uncomfortable. And now I want to rectify that, address it, discuss it. And that's what makes someone feel more comfortable in their environment as well.
How I see it from my perspective is that I have to have the short-term uncomfortable conversations as a trade-off for long-term discomfort.
I do think that one of the things that we might miss the mark on in the corporate setting, and when we look at Black History Month and unconscious bias, etc., any other kind of bias, is that some of it is not happening in the workplace. It happens in the communities where we live, work, shop, but it's not in the office. And for anybody who experiences unconscious bias, they can bring that into work on a Monday based on something they experienced on the weekend. And it's kind of shrouded around them because it's real. And so I think this whole concept of having an environment in which one can talk freely about these challenges, how it makes them feel, and have a toolkit and an understanding of how to navigate it is so important to success and resilience.
Me coming to the city, I just wanted to be in the city. I just wanted to look smart. I wanted to look professional. And I felt like that was a sort of ego boost, if I'm being candidly honest. So I didn't know what anyone done in the city. I just knew it looked like a good thing to be in. I do feel like it's hidden from a lot of black professionals and ethnic minorities, not only black professionals. No one really knows what goes on in the city, just churns out a lot of money. I feel like educating the young professionals as well, having a strategic approach to like outreach programs as well, so reaching different schools, not even only schools, because some people, they leave school at 18.
Yep.
So trying to find spaces where we might find the talent.
When you look at our client bases, they're so diverse. They want diversity of thought, diversity of problem solving, diversity of approach. But it also enriches our environment as well to have that variation, and it represents our society. So I think more of the same at the what I would call the entry level, and we see that diversity coming to bear in the apprentice programs as well. Amazing source of talent. When we talk about retention, and we go back to the cultural piece as well, because it's not just ethnicity, there's a cultural aspect as well. I think a lot of focus across the financial industry and many industries is about the quality and the efficiency of the management team. Managers have to manage individuals, not cookie cutter. You've got to invest in the individual. What motivates them? What would be a stretch? What are their aspirations? Where are they in their life? And you do that by really devoting the time to each individual, and you get the best out of them. And that's agile management. And that benefits all employees, not just Black heritage, but that's what needs to happen. And I think that's the critical piece now. We're getting talent in. We need to advance it, retain it, so that we've got leaders of tomorrow. My advice to someone who is exploring a career in the city is be aware of forums, networks, organizations. Everything's there now. In a way, it wasn't there. Not giving away my age when I was at a similar stage, where you can just go online and find out where people are gathering, and you can network and you can ask people questions about what gets them excited to go to work.
Definitely be brave. Be brave in your decisions. Be bold. Don't hide because you feel like you're the minority. You're here for a reason if you're in the city. So clearly you have something to show, something to give. So I feel like having that faith in yourself and being self-confident and not trying to hide and just go under the radar. I feel like you've got to be brave and put yourself out there.